Hello, 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 my loves. Welcome to my favorite part of the week. This is where we get to really connect live. Hello, Instagram. Hello, Facebook. I'm in between clients right now. I've got 24 minutes to answer all of your questions. So as you guys are streaming in and saying hi and coming in, I'm going to answer some questions from last week that I didn't catch that came up after. So let's see. And as you're coming on, just know this is live Q&A. You can ask me anything, sex and how it hacks your life, anything about me if you want to know about me, anything about my clients, anything going on in your life that's coming up, you can talk to me there. If you want to come on live on Insta with me, then I can do some coaching work with you, some actual, like, not hands-on, but it feels like hands-on work. And I will gift you a session with me if that feels juicy for you. So I got a question from last week, and I'm going to start with that. And as I'm answering this, I'd love for you guys to feed me some more questions and just kind of whatever, any question works. Like, I'm willing to receive all of them. So whatever comes up, whatever feels juicy for you, please ask away. Question from last week said, what are your views on money, saving, and happiness in general? There's a few different things there. Okay, I'll start with the first one. And first, like, views isn't really my thing. I do more experience and more body. So I go with, when I get a question like that, I'm thinking to myself, how does my body feel right now? And then based on the feeling in my body, how do I feel about it? And so what's the experience with it? And that's what I'm channeling and sharing for you. So I'm not really much of a thinker. You're not going to get many thoughts coming out of me. If you want that, you can go and find a philosopher. Okay, so views on money. Money is amazing. Money is energy flow. Money is femininity. It's life in that way, right? It has this sexuality to it, this in and out, push and pull movement, the fluidity of it. I'm assuming that whoever asked this question is asking about accumulating money, right? And like abundance. The more sexual energy that you have moving through your body, right, the more money that is going to come to you, because it's the same thing. It's the same energy. It's an energy of pleasure. It's an energy of receiving. It's an energy of giving and gifting. It's an energy of life, right? And it's the same way that sex is very feminine in energy, money is also. And then what we've done in society is we're putting on this masculine, savings and like percentages and categories, right? We're doing that, and we're doing that with sex too. We're like, oh, sex is like for the man, back and forth, thrust, 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 thrust. And the trick and the key, I was just with my clients before this, talking to them, a couple, about this. The key is that the sex, as well as the abundance, comes from feminine, even in men. And so allowing that feminine flow of deep trust, deep surrender, of juiciness, of divinity within you, right? Of knowing that you already are it. Your sex is life. You already have life within you. And so money becomes very easily vibrating towards you, right? Very easily moves and moves and moves towards you. You're pulling it in just by being, right? Now, there have been many times in my life that I haven't had money. And those have been times that I've been operating in a constricted system within my body. So I'm operating in fear. I'm operating in stuck emotion, right? Where I'm not expressing and allowing the natural flow of energy to move through my body. I had the best advice ever from a mentor about a year ago, and crazy that a year ago I was in this situation, how quickly things can shift when we find our sexual awakening. About a year ago, I remember not being able to pay rent, and needing to manifest somehow, what was it, like $2,000 in a day, right? And so I called a friend of mine. It was like 8 a.m. right when I figured it out. Something happened, and so I called a friend of mine, and she's brilliant. She's a coach, and she works with money. And I called her, and I said, right, and I just cried, and I just cried, and I just cried. And she said, well, A, you're already attracting money right now by crying, because you're flowing, you're letting it move through your body, you're letting the femininity of it move. And she said, B, I want you to hang up the phone with me, lie on your floor, and just feel. Just be with it. Be with the fear. Be with the anger, right? Be with the resentment of it. And then what started to happen was I let all of that out, and then my body started to feel pleasure. It started to laugh. It started to find turn on, right? My phone was off. This took about 2.5 hours. I turned my phone back on, and 2 clients out of the blue came through. Right, so I not only had enough money to pay rent, but then I had enough money like for the rest of the month, out of the blue, like never even met them before. And this is my experience with money. It is this month, it is today, it is yesterday, it is tomorrow. It's always that the more that I can be in alignment with the energy that's meant to move through my body, the abundance of energy. We have way more energy in our bodies than we think we do, and way more of a container to hold them than we think we do. So just before I answer the rest of that question, those of you that are joining, hello, welcome to Friday Q&A. You can literally ask me anything. I'm so open. I'm like ready. I'm just gonna answer them all. Okay, so, and no question is too good or too bad. Like good and bad don't even exist. So ask me whatever the fuck you want. Okay. I'm here to answer the questions. It can be about me, it can be about money, it can be about sex, it can be about God, whatever you want. And while I give you that prompt, also know that you can join me live on Instagram. If you join me live on Instagram and I work with you, play with you, you let me play with you, I will give you a session for free. It's $500 for your courage. So just find me on Insta. Essential Reclamation is my handle there. So the second part to this question that was asked last week that I'm going to answer is, what are your views on saving? So views on saving is similar to views on sex, right? Like I'm putting everything in that container. Do we save sexual energy? Sure. Like sometimes, yeah. When it suits our flow. When saving suits your flow, when saving expands you, do it. If it expands your energy, do it. And you can feel it when it's expansive or when you're contracting around it. So if it feels delicious for you to save, then save. If it feels delicious for you to borrow, that's kind of like having sex and receiving, right? Knowing that you'll give it back at some point. Right? If that feels juicy for you, then borrow, right? It's all about like what is in alignment. It's a dance, guys. Like money is a huge game. So is sex and living, right? This is all this beautiful game, and I want us to let ourselves play in that more, okay? And then the third part to this question was happiness. What are my views on happiness? My views on happiness is that it's a part of the dance, right? It's a part of your spiritual dance. You're gonna feel happy. You're gonna feel batshit crazy. You're gonna feel joy. You're gonna feel deep sorrow. There is no good or bad to any of these feelings that show up in your body. There is no seeking of happiness or seeking of any feeling or emotion, because these are all just ways of coloring your experience on the earth. And this is the same, I'm just going to relate it to sex because this is what I do with everything. There is no sexual experience that is better or worse than any other, so long as we're conscious. It's the same with our emotions. If our emotions are conscious, then that whole experience is to be celebrated, right? The rage, the grief, the anger, the sex that feels mediocre, the sex that feels really exciting, the sex that's like meh, right? Or the sex that's like, oh, all of those, I want us to celebrate it, because spirit, and I say this all the time, spirit at its core wants to dance. Dancing is life. Dancing is through sex. Dancing is through emotion. And there's so many people, it just kills me. There's so many people walking around not living. Why be here and not live? What are we doing if we're not living? What are we doing if we're not dancing? What are we doing if we're not tapped into our erotic energy? It's a waste. We're wasting, right? We're wasting. So, and I don't want to make it wrong, because it's all we know, right? Okay, I see comments coming in and questions, and I'm getting juiced up. I only have another I'm going to stay on for 10 minutes, because then I have a client. But let me see. Instagram handle is essential reclamation. So you can pop on there. You can come with me live on there, and I will give you that free session. Rebecca asked a question. She said, when you love sex and made it your mission to share this love, is it okay to make money with it? Sure. Does it feel okay in your body? Right? If it feels okay in your body, then rock on. Are you conscious? If you're conscious, sure. I don't know, Rebecca, if you're talking about sex work. If you are, I think sex work is one of the most conscious. Sex work is one of the most brilliant things that people can do, because we're filling this void and this hole where people are not dancing in anymore. And while I would rather that everyone just kind of be okay with sex and celebrate sex, sex work is a place where people can go and experience their life force. So I'm quite grateful to the conscious sex workers out there that are doing such brilliant work of bringing people back to themselves and reminding them who they are. So thank you. I heard some yeses. Thank you. Great. Okay. I don't have any more questions, so I'm just going to wait now until I get some. You guys have 9 minutes. The clock is ticking. Questions on money, sex, and God. You can also come live with me on Instagram, and then you'll get a session for free with me. It's a $500 session. Your courage gets it for you complimentary. Questions on any of these things, you can also ask me about me. You can ask me about you. Rebecca said conscious sex work. Yeah, exactly. It's all about consciousness, right? It's everything is okay if we're conscious, right? I just got a really good question. Angeline, thank you. She said, I love talking about this, Angeline, so much love and deep bows to you, darling. She said, I've heard you say before that safety is an illusion. So I would like to know, how do you keep from being used or hurt by a man? Is it unreasonable to want to feel safe and secure with someone? Okay, there's 2 questions here. I'll start with the first one. Thank you. It's a brilliant question. I'm sure there's so many women that can relate, and I know me before my awakening had the same question. Okay. How do you keep from being used or hurt by a man? We recognize that we can't actually get hurt, right? And now I know that many, many people that have been hurt are mad when I say that, right? So I'm going to actually take a little bit of my own story here so that I don't give it to you, because I know that can pull up your defenses. My own spiritual human existence experience has been that I have had deep pain, emotional pain, traumatic pain, physical pain from men since the second that I hit puberty, actually before 3 years old was my first experience, moving all the way until just 2 years ago. My experience of being hurt by men, I understand it. And another piece that I understand through my own work, which has been tapping into my body. I'm actually going to do a little bit of touch because I can feel myself floating. Tapping into my body and connecting with her and seeing what she needs and loving her and honoring her, learning my blueprints so that when I do my daily self-intimacy practice and I bring my erotic energy up and through my body, right, I know exactly how to feed her. That experience led me to the experience of connecting with my own divinity. Now it started with, being in the kinky blueprint. So it started with me learning surrender and control. That experience was my spirit being able to play in those arenas, right? Learning that allowed me to learn, allowed my nervous system to understand that I could be surrendered and control. I didn't know that. Then from there, I moved into the blueprint of sexual, right? And I started to experience pleasure sexually, which I'd never experienced before. And I did deep work to do that. Started to heal trauma, right? So there is a level of healing that does occur pretty naturally, right? And then then from there, I moved into the energetic blueprint and I started to play with my body energetically. And that's, for me, when I tapped into my divine. When I tapped into my divine goddesshood, when I tapped into understanding who I am as a being, I was going to say erotic being, but it's actually just me as a being. And not just me, but like who every single person is. Because we're all the same thing, right? I tapped into that. It was a day that I remembered who all of us are. I recognize that there's no one and nothing that can actually take away any of our light. Yes, there's pain. Yes, there's sorrow, but pain and sorrow is part of living, right? It's part of sex. It's part of life. And so I understood, not only in my mind, but experientially in my body, that none of those men that had ever hurt me were actually ones that were doing anything wrong, right? And then I also understood that I wasn't actually hurt by them. Sure, I experienced pain, but the pain was just my spirit dancing. And on a divine level, all my spirit wants to do is to feel. So if I allow myself to feel, the hurt can be expressive and moving like water, right? Or like waves, like sex. And so I don't need to constrict. The constriction is where a lot of us hold the pain, right? The constriction is where a lot of us hold the pain because we're in the hurt of it, and then we're like, meh, and then we hate everyone, and we hate everything, and we hate, right? We're just all of a sudden like walls up. And so if we can allow ourselves to dance and move with the emotion, then the hurt falls away, right? And many of us are just skirting and dancing, tiptoeing around pain rather than digging our fingers in and experiencing life fully. Now, safety is not real, right? There's I actually can't guarantee anyone's safety. My safety, your safety, the world's safety, I have no idea. The feeling of safety, however, comes from inside of myself, not from a man, right? Now, the only way that I found experientially the feeling of safety inside of myself was from allowing myself to experience life and then learning, and by life I mean pain, hurt, grief, sorrow, anger, and learning, oh, I can do this and I'm okay. I can hold all of this. I can sit in my room for hours and rage and cry. and I'm okay. I'm better than okay. Right? So many of us, the second that we start to feel pain, we move it out of our body. We put it on a person and say, help me. We're looking for our moms and our dads, right? Help me. Help me. And this is where we get to learn how to mother ourselves, right? It's in that mothering that safety gets deeply rooted within us. And then sex becomes play rather than something that we have to tiptoe around. Because if we know that we can't be hurt, bring it on, right? If we know it can't be hurt, then we're like, I'm ready for you. Let me play in this, right? And we have an inner compass that can very easily shift based on where we need to go and how we need to move to let our spirit feel the most free. The second that our spirit feels constricted or our energy feels constricted, we can trust ourselves. If we've done the work around our sexuality, we can trust ourselves to leave, right? Or to say something. A lot of women don't have that say something channel open, right? This channel of like, I don't feel good. This doesn't feel right. Can you stop? No. We're not used to that, right? That's society. And so the sexual energy that moves up through the body will clear that. It'll clear that out pretty quickly. And then all of a sudden you'll notice, I mean, crazy, but when I was young, I could barely speak. I wasn't a talker. Now you can't shut me up, right? It's because I was conditioned not to. And my sexual energy freed it for me. And it also, yeah. Okay, I have to go. I love you guys so much. If you're watching the replay, #replay, I have a client. I've got some new clients popping on, a couple I'm really excited to work with. So I've got to run, and I'm just checking the comments. Okay, Angeline, I see you have another question, so I'm going to answer that on next week's Q&A. Okay, and I also see a question on Instagram. These are all really good. I'll read these to you just to get you guys excited about them. So we have a question, can we expect a man to be honest, or should we just not care? That's a great question. I have a question on Instagram that says, will you speak to sex and money and how it ties into survival instinct? That's really hot. Thank you for that question, Guru Nishan. And money and how it ties into, so I'm writing all these down. Have you ever danced tango? I will answer that, though that will be a yes/no answer, but I will answer that next week as well. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, I love you guys so much. I wish I could be here all day with you. I'll try to find time when I'm in San Diego next week to connect again. Those of you in Southern California, I'm doing a workshop on Sunday with Scott Katamas, Karina Barris, and Casey Neal. We together are going to bring you this feeling of deep abundance, this expansion. We're going to do it through hands-on work, meditation, bringing erotic energy into the body, working with essential oils and like plant medicine healing techniques. So that's on Sunday. And then we just opened up a live stream for that. So you guys can come on live with us, and no matter where you are. I'll post about that later today with the link. I think it's in my feed though. So if you want to come on and join us live on Sunday, it's going to be a pretty long workshop, and we're really excited to have all of you there. It will help you to not only understand what I just spoke about, but to feel it in your body, right? We're going to do body-based work. So it's inside of you, and your cells start to understand what abundance and freedom really feel like. Okay, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. Bye, Instagram. Bye, Facebook.